So recently I made this bucket hat that is covertly Halloween because it turns into a witch's hat, and I love the idea of having something that is covertly seasonal because it is almost October and it is
also 90 degrees today.
So I need something that I can wear in this weather and also something that feeds the spooky hole in my heart. So I was thinking about this. I went to the fabric store and I saw this fabric and I knew immediately what I had to do. That's right, everybody. I'm making the Sydney Graham Skyline dress using my black fabric. This fabric just makes me feel like this is an outfit that a witch who is trying to be normal would wear to the supermarket, and I love it. The first thing I did was cut out my pattern on some tracing paper. I like to do this with all of my patterns because it preserves the big print that I have of the pattern, and so it means that I can make this pattern in all different sizes if I ever want to remake it or make it for someone else. And then I got to cutting all of those pieces out on the fabric. The nice thing about using a Sydney Graham pattern is that she has super detailed instructions, so if you're a beginner seamstress, I would highly recommend all of her content. The other thing about using a Sydney Graham pattern is that theoretically this should be a fairly not chaotic process, but you know me, and the decision I made very soon after cutting all of this out, like literally before making any stitches, was already beginning to that chaos. Hello. So yesterday I got all of the pattern pieces cut out and I did zigzag stitch around the pocket pieces. Hold on, I can show you. So now these are all nice and finished, all four of them. Technically, the instructions for this pattern start by making kind of the top bodice piece of the pattern, and then you make the skirt pieces and then you put them all together.
I do not have the brain cells in me right now to figure out how to do the bodice, so we're just gonna start with the skirt.
Which is probably already like asking for chaos in this video, but that's okay. It's okay.
That's just what I want to do, and you're not here to tell me that I can't do it.
And so I got started with the skirt panels and was immediately confused.
Am I crazy?
Yes.
After finally figuring out which was the right and wrong side, I did a French seam on both of these panels. But of course, before I could move on, I had to tell you about my books.
Also, while I cut these seams, last time in my video we talked a little bit about reading, and I had a lot of fun talking to you about reading, so I'd like to talk to you about reading again. I just finished the tandem read. It was so good. I really loved reading both of those books at once because I felt like Empire of Storms, is that the boat one? Was pretty intense, and so to have the tower one, wow.
I promise I read these books.
This is just how I think of their names in my head. Having the book about Kale to kind of ease that really intensity of the other one was really nice. I am very afraid for this last book because Empire of Storms had me literally
Crying in a park.
Sarah J. Maas just has my heart in her hands right now, and at the end of Empire of Storms she was just like completely destroyed it. I don't have a lot of trust in her, but also I can't stop now. Let me know what you guys think of Throne of Glass series, if you've read it, if you're thinking about reading it, all of those things in the comments. And also, please let me know what you suggest to read after it, because I've heard that it will be devastating to try to read after it.
But I would like to keep reading.
I should probably change my thread color while we're thinking about it. In fact, we should probably go buy some more thread. But let me finish this first and then we'll go to Joann's. Sorry, I don't mean to throw my scissors at you. After all that chaos, I got to finishing the French seam and then attaching the pockets to the middle panel. By the time I was ready to go to Joann's, it had actually closed, so I finished for the day. It's really hard for you to see what I just did, but I just zigzag stitched that together so that I don't have to finish it. She used a,
How do I forget what these are called every time?
a serger. She used a serger in her video, but I don't have one of those. That's all I had to say. I'm gonna stop talking to you like this. Bye.
Hello, it's the next day. I have a lot of school to do tonight that mostly consists of just watching videos, so I thought we could do some sewing while I get educated. Let me show you where we are. I did the ginormous bottom tier. I have connected the pockets to each panel, but I haven't stitched in the ditch for these to ensure that they go the same way, and then I need to put them together.
And so while listening to lectures, I got to doing all of that. I ironed my pieces, I stitched in the ditch for those pockets, and I connected the front and the back pocketed panels, the middle panels, together, and that took somehow all of my brain power because this is the mood I was in about an hour and a half later.
I'm just realizing I'm doing a basting stitch, but I'm running out of bottom thread.
That's what you call that. I'm so tired.
I'm running out of the thread in the bobbin thread. So I need to rethread my bobbin. I'm trying to decide, is that a big enough deterrent for me to quit right now?
I decided to not quit, so I began to thread my bobbin, and this chaos happened.
I just ran out of thread. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
But of course what I meant by I'll see you guys tomorrow was actually I'll see you in Joann's. I wandered through the Halloween section and got the black thread that I needed for the dress, but didn't end up actually sewing it all that day, so here I am the next day. Hello. You know that point when you're working on something and you lose motivation and you keep trying to push yourself to do it and you just don't spend enough time to actually like get traction to do it, so then you just don't want to go back to it because you're just in a bad mood about it?
That's where I am.
However, I've decided that today we can put in a couple hours sewing this to see how it goes. So I think we should start at the very beginning. Discard the skirt chaos and just make the bodice. So we have all of our bodice pieces, and then we can worry about connecting the two skirt panels and then connecting those panels to however we make this a top. We have to do this today because I want to start making Halloween decorations, okay? I want to start making Halloween decorations. So with Halloween spurring me on, I started a K-drama and got to work.
I'm starting, by the way, if you watch K-dramas, I'm starting My Demon. I don't know. Last time I watched a K-drama on this channel, it was interesting. It was interesting. It was a good time. I'm not crying. You're crying. And I'm excited to start this. So if you've watched it, let me know how I'm gonna feel at the end of it in the comments. And if you haven't watched it, maybe start and we can do this journey together, you and I.
The top came together relatively easily, and even though I was distracted by my K-drama,
Oh, as if you cared.
made some good progress later that afternoon and later that night. It was mostly adding bias binding to a lot of the raw edges, and it was a lot easier than I thought, so I don't know why I avoided this top for so long.
Hello. Last time we worked on this, I got this one strap done on the front. Quick problem, though, is that the long strap, I realized for both of these straps, actually, I was supposed to cut them on the bias, and I didn't do that for either of them.
So I got to work cutting the long strap out on the bias of my fabric, and I spent the rest of that night finishing the top. What was left to do was to connect both of those skirt panels to each other and then connect that massive skirt to the top. And the reason you don't see me doing any of that really is, well, I'll just let this BB explain it to you.
Hi. We haven't talked in a really long time. I connected, I don't know if you can see me. I connected the bottom two panels like 2 nights ago, and I spent like an hour and a half on it, and I didn't film any of it because
I was in like goblin core mode.
and I did not want to be perceived. But then I realized I did it wrong, so I had to redo it. So I redid it last night, and I was so annoyed at having to redo it that I didn't want to talk to you. So, hi. It's good to see you again. I am doing the last step, which is connecting the top to the skirt panels which we have created, and then I can finish that seam, and then we should be done.
I'm really hoping this fits.
Also, as a random update, I finished the Throne of Glass books, and I'm not sure I'm ready to talk about it yet, but I did cry multiple times in the park. The ending wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be because I was truly expecting the worst, and by the worst, I mean like
Everyone except for the main character to die.
So it's better than that, and I would highly recommend the series. But I also need you to tell me what to read next. Please tell me what to read next. You've spent 8 months reading a fantasy series, and then you're like,
what now?
So let me know what you read when you're in like a reading slump, or if you've just finished a lot of books. And I'm gonna get to sewing this, and then I'll see you at the reveal.
One eternity later.
Here's my dress. I love her so much. I think it's perfect. Honestly, no notes. I think that on the videos you can't really tell how the stripes look, but in person the stripes is such a nice little detail, especially because the middle panel actually goes different direction than the top and the bottom panel. I don't know how in my chaos I managed to pull that off, but I love it so much. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this chaos and hanging out with me and talking about books and sewing, please subscribe so that we can hang out more often. I'm also on other social media platforms and would love to see you there. I love this dress. I know I just said that. I know I literally just said that, but it is the first time in about a year and a half of teaching myself to sew that I've made something that I feel like I actually really actively want to wear like all the time. And so that is really exciting to me. I feel like I'm moving towards making and sewing stuff that I feel like has practical use in my life, which for me as a chaotic crafter is a hard line to walk. But I still want to make chaotic things, so we'll see where this journey goes. Speaking of making chaotic things, I have a lot of ideas for Halloween, so please subscribe if you would like to hang out and craft and sew and read and knit with me, and I will see you next time you're feeling crafty. Bye. So rude.